I don't know if I've ever seen a show go off the rails quite like Paradise Season 2. Let's talk about it. I really have no idea how this show ended up at this point. This show started about a Secret Service agent, Sterling K. Brown, defending a president, James Marsden, two pretty big actors, and it was super interesting, and it was kind of edgy, and it was funny, and it was kind of like had its own thing going, and now we're just in a completely different place. I cannot believe that they decided to blow up the bunker. It was something I was dreading, something I was hoping they wouldn't do, and I just think a catastrophically bad decision to do that. In my opinion, that was what the entire show was about, surviving the bunker, living in the bunker, all the drama that comes from the bunker. I have no idea why they decided to take this show in this direction. Now, I do kind of respect that this show takes swings and it doesn't play things safe. It kills off characters. It does things pretty quickly. But with that being said, I really don't know why this show was taken in such a sci-fi direction when they had a clear path forward for a very good show. Now, obviously, the show always had a sci-fi element to it. It's a post-apocalyptic show about people living in a bunker. A lot of the technology doesn't even exist, or maybe it does. That's a discussion for another day. But with that being said, the show always was a sci-fi kind of show. But I still think dealing with quantum mechanics, quantum physics, time travel is a totally new can of worms, a totally different thing. And I don't think it's the type of show that should have went down this direction. My biggest gripe with the show is how dramatic they make it. Now, obviously, there are dramatic circumstances. There are a lot of life and death circumstances. But a lot of times the acting almost comes off as like ABC Family kind of acting. Kind of like This Is Us acting. And not kind of a sleeker, more prestige TV show, which is what I think it should be going for. Another huge problem with the show is how much it deviates from the main character. It seems like Sterling K. Brown's character Xavier is just one storyline now among many others. It doesn't seem to be the main through line throughout the story. They cut to a lot of different characters, and when you're with the other characters, you're basically in a different show. If I'm with one character in the bunker and then with another character out of the bunker, that's just a totally different show. I don't think there's a lot of cohesion between these scenes. I also think the show pretty much has to make a decision whether it wants to be a theory show or just kind of a sci-fi show, which are two different things. A theory show is something like I would consider Lost, where there are legitimate theories that you can kind of theorize about. Whereas a sci-fi show is really something that just kind of has sci-fi elements in it, but it's not really meant to kind of think about or really theorize about. I think the biggest problem with the show is that in the very first episode, almost a new show emerged within this show, and that is Sterling K. Brown defending James Marsden as Secret Service agent and president. That show could have been its own thing, and they could have done completely away with the bunker and completely away with the world ending. That could have been almost like a West Wing type show, I think. I really think that. But the show was already committed to that other element and all of those other plot points that we really lost that initial magic of the show. Overall, this is an entertaining show, and I definitely don't, regret watching it. I just kind of have my nitpicks. Not serious nitpicks, but just kind of, from an entertainment value. Overall, I still think, I respect the people who work on the show. I think it was done well from an entertainment value. I just would have took the storyline in a little bit of a different direction. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you at the movies.